Bienvenido, Gareth. Welcome to Mexico. Bueno, ¿qué podemos decir de nuestra próxima invitada? Una mujer muy linda, muy guapa, muy amable. Ha sido un placer trabajar con ella. Y bueno, tenemos a Felicity Jones. Les pido un fuerte aplauso, por favor. Welcome, Felicity. Y bueno, el último talento, y muy orgullosos nosotros como mexicanos, como latinos, una gran persona que su carrera lo inició desde muy joven y hoy está consolidándose con nosotros, y muy contentos de tener también a Diego Luna. Pido un aplauso, por favor. Hola, Diego, bienvenido. Así que bueno, vamos a empezar por ahí. Tenemos alguna paletita, entonces si quieren empezamos con las damas. Para Felicity Jones, podría levantar su paletita, decir su medio, su nombre y hacer la pregunta. La pueden decir en inglés o en español. Por aquí tenemos caballero Sekeli.
So Felicity, welcome to Mexico, from Televisa Radio, Mario Sekeli. My question is about you begin your career doing so much independent movies, indie films that have this flavor to going against big corporations, no? Hollywood actually. What was the flavor of being around this group of actors and artists in this movie? Do you feel this sense, because the movie is about that, being rebel against the big institutions, no? What's the flavor?
Hello. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Well, from the very beginning, it felt like a very small family making the film, and initially it was all about trying to keep it as naturalistic as possible. So we wanted it to feel in many ways like it was a very small group of us on set around the camera. Often it would literally be sometimes just Gareth, the DOP, Greg, Diego and I, and it was kept very small to keep that sense of independent filmmaking, to keep a sense of spontaneity and basically, you know, I can be very English, so it's about trying to get rid of all the self-consciousness and being over-polite. So the more you feel like it's an intimate set, the more you feel like you can take risks, the better it is, I think, for the acting. Gracias.
Thank you, Felicity. Ok, seguimos con alguien que tenga una paleta gris para nuestro director, para Gareth. Por favor, su nombre, su medio, por favor. Cine Premier, por ahí tenía una paletita, ¿no?
Gareth, I would like to ask you about the story behind the Death Troopers and how did it came up to you and how it was integrating them to the story.
Hola, no hablo español, sorry. Yeah, the Death Troopers, I mean, it's no secret, and it's probably sacrilegious to say this as a Star Wars director, but the Stormtroopers don't normally have a very good aim. They're not that good at firing weapons and hitting the target, typically in Star Wars. And we wanted to have a threat within our film that was you could take seriously and feel like they're going to kill you if they get you. And one of the great things about working at Lucasfilm is that you get to go and visit the archives where they have all the original Millennium Falcon and the X-Wing and Luke Skywalker's lightsaber and everything like this. And in the back of the room in a drawer are the very first images that were painted to promote Star Wars to the studios to try and get it green lit. And on one of those images there was this really tall, thin stormtrooper that looked amazing. And I was like, oh, we have to do that in the film. And everyone was explaining that when you have a stormtrooper, you put armor on them and suddenly everyone looks fat and they can never get them to look like that. So instead we tried to find like basketball players who were 7 foot tall, very thin and sort of stunt guys. And we put a really light amount of armor on them, like a very thin layer, and so they ended up looking very athletic. And the whole design was supposed to reflect like special forces, like the SAS. So that front snout that they have is really kind of subconsciously supposed to be like a gas mask. Like they're like, you know, the elite squad that will kill you if they get hold of you. Gracias.
Thank you. Aquí, por favor.
Hola, Diego. Yo sé que para ti...
¿Tu medio, perdón?
Hola.
Ah, hola. Muy bien.
Hola, Diego. Yo sé que para ti ser papá es una faceta muy importante. Como papá, ¿qué sientes de pertenecer al universo de Star Wars?
Hola, buenos días a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. ¿Qué siento como papá? Es que es como todo, lo siento por todos lados. Como papá es muy emocionante poder compartir mi trabajo con mis hijos y saberlos interesados, ¿no? Normalmente tengo que esconderles mis películas y dejarlas en una caja de seguridad cuando me voy. Ahora es al revés, mi hijo sabe más mi hijo sí se da un tiro con Gareth así para discutir de Star Wars. Es un clavado y se sabe todo, ¿no? Y eso me emociona muchísimo. Ahora estuvieron en Londres dos meses durante el verano mientras rodábamos y me despedían con una sonrisa así como de qué bueno que ya te vas a trabajar. No sé si estaba pasando algo que yo no sabía en la casa o si de verdad estaban tan emocionados de que hiciera Star Wars, pero por ejemplo mi hijo en las vacaciones, ya les estoy contando muchas cosas de mi hijo, se va a enojar. Digamos que sí es algo, sí es un parteaguas en nuestra relación, ¿no? Ahora soy parte de un universo que a él le fascina. Y a mí me deja conectar con mi hijo también, me conecta con mi niñez, porque es una película que vi de chavito, pero además me deja conectar con mi hijo, ¿no? Ver una película con él y gozarla a la par, ¿no? Eso es un gran regalo.
Gracias. Glamour para Felicity, por favor.
Hi Felicity, Elsa Lopez from Glamour Magazine. Nowadays we are watching some kind of new heroes that are not the total goodness versus total evil. So after making this movie, what have you learned about being a rebel and a female hero? Thank you.
I think like Jin, it's about sticking to your instincts, sticking to your gut, being true to your beliefs. The rebels come together because ultimately they all actually do want good to prevail. And they're all a bit of a motley crew. They've all had quite difficult, complicated pasts, but they really, in true Star Wars fashion, they become a family. And it's not a kind of family of blood relations, but it is truly a family between them in terms of their purity of their connection with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Para Gareth, Fiorella, de Argentina. No? Ok. Tele 13, Caracol. Ok, adelante, por favor.
Hi Gareth, this is Marcelo from Brazil, on noviembre.com. How do you cast a villain that is from the Empire, but he's not very much like Tarkin, he's not a bureaucrat, he's not a strategist? How do you find a villain that can play differently from the ones we've seen before?
The very simple answer is you just cast Ben Mendelsohn and he will take care of the rest. He's a phenomenal actor, but we kind of wanted to do something that was opposite. Like our film directly connects to the original Star Wars, and so whenever we had a big decision to make, typically we would try and do the opposite, like a reflection of the first film. And so, for instance, at the beginning of the movie of Star Wars, you see Darth Vader in a black cape come through the door surrounded by white stormtroopers. And so in the opening of our film, our villain comes in a white cape, surrounded by black stormtroopers and things like that. And I'm from England, and it feels like whenever the Empire have a job vacancy, they normally go to the Royal Shakespeare Company to get the new bad guy. And I felt like that had been done a few times now. We wanted to do something different. And I love the idea of this sort of hierarchy, this kind of class structure to the empire, because we experienced that in England a little bit. And that, like Tarkin is from, went to probably Cambridge and Oxford, and Krennic had more of a working class upbringing. And so Ben basically sort of embraced that, and we wanted someone that was kind of a loose cannon, that even though they're incredibly controlled and determined, there's something in there that feels like at any moment it could just ignite and he will go ballistic at you. And Ben has got that in spades. Like, he's the greatest guy in the world and he's so much fun whenever he's on set, but he can just always keep you on edge. There's an aspect about him that's very intimidating when he wants it to be, and he was perfect for the part. We didn't really talk to anyone else. He was the guy I wanted from the beginning. So.
Okay, thank you. Para Diego, por favor. Adelante.
Hola, buenos días. Cristina Ibáñez de Milenio. Diego, acá. Bueno, en Star Wars hay una gran diversidad de culturas y etnias que se respetan, no nada más en esta película, sino en toda la franquicia. ¿Qué tan importante fue para ti mostrar eso en tiempos en donde nuestro mundo parece tan dividido en ideologías?
Pues sí, me parece no tuve nada que ver, pero me parece una gran decisión. ¿No? Star Wars establece un paralelo con la realidad en la que vivimos, ¿no? Cuando empiezas una película diciendo en una galaxia muy muy lejana, puedes decir lo que quieras y salirte con la tuya, ¿no? Siempre puedes decir, no te sientas aludido, esta es una galaxia muy muy lejana, nada que ver con tu realidad. Pero a la vez, digo, la primera película de Star Wars era una reacción a lo que había pasado en los 70s y la relación de Estados Unidos con el mundo. Y esta película yo creo que también es un reflejo de una realidad en la que vivimos, ¿no? Y modernizar el universo Star Wars creo que es un buen paso para que se siga pasando de generación en generación. Y claro, pues se habla de una diversidad racial y de cómo un equipo que parece no tener nada en común, cuando dejan atrás las diferencias y trabajan juntos, logran cosas increíbles, ¿no? Pues es un mensaje muy pertinente hoy. Me parece que hay que pasar la voz, ¿no? Y la idea de celebrar las diferencias es indispensable hoy para existir en el mundo en el que vivimos.
Gracias, Diego. Con Felicity, por favor. Adelante.
Alex. Hi Felicity, hi guys. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you about this great franchise. The Rogue One movie, how was for you, Felicity? Did you have to take a crash course to understand all the names, all the great things that make this Star Wars saga so successful around the world? And have you had any contact with any fans, like asking you about your character, or like saying it's not gonna be as great as the other ones? Have you had any encounter with that? Have you searched the web looking for information on what people say about your character?
I try not to do that, just because I think it's probably not good for one's mental health.
I'm sorry I wrote that comment.
Yeah.
Take it back now, I'm sorry. It was me that wrote that comment, sorry.
Yeah, so usually, I don't know, we just threw ourselves into it. We just loved every minute of it. It was literally, before we'd start doing scenes, we'd be watching bits of Empire Strikes Back and we'd be totally geeking out. We'd go, this is amazing, we want our film to be as good as this. So it was just, there was just so much kind of love for what we were doing. And even extending to the crew, there'd be, I think was it Star Wars Thursday or Star Wars Friday? I think it was Star Wars Friday, and everyone would come in various kind of Star Wars type costumes. So there'd be a few kind of Chewbacca's walking around, and our great hairstylist, Lisa, had these wonderful kind of Darth Vader leggings that she'd wear. So there was a lot of joy in making it, and being respectful to those fantastic films that have gone before us. So and in terms of we just hope that everyone loves it as much as we love making it.
Thank you. Para Gareth, por favor, alguien que tenga una paletita. Levanten la mano o una pregunta. Aquí hay una pregunta. Adelante, por favor.
Mi pregunta para Diego Luna, soy medio de noviembre. Muy bienvenidos a México. Diego Luna, ¿cómo se siente para ti en esta parte de una galaxia, en una guerra de todos?
Traducción, por favor.
¿Cómo se siente ser parte de eso, ¿no? Básicamente? Pues se siente increíble, se siente muy raro. Yo les prometí que iba a haber una conferencia de prensa donde todo el mundo se reía, que era como una fiesta. Están todos muy serios hoy. Y se siente increíble presentar la película en México, empezar aquí, eso, ¿no? Estar en casa, poder hablar en español, y compartirlo con mis amigos y con mi familia, es un gran regalo. Sobre todo porque el proceso y la gente... Yo no he visto la película, terminada. Me falta ese paso, ¿no? Y ahí ya te podré decir bien cómo se siente. De hecho, el día que la pueda ver con público, ese día se termina, ¿no? Ese día ya podré, pues, compartirla con alguien. Pero hasta ahora lo que yo me llevo, pues, es el viaje, son las amistades que hice en el camino, las relaciones, lo que me tocó ver, aprender. Y en esta me tocó aprender muchísimo y le agradezco mucho a Gareth y el que me haya subido en esto, que no sé, que me haya abierto este espacio. No la vi venir, la verdad. O sea, yo estaba en otra, nunca vi venir esto, me llegó como sorpresa, como llegan las mejores cosas en la vida. Y la disfruté y aprendí, crecí, viví un rato en Londres, que es una ciudad que me encanta, me pasaron puras cosas buenas, la verdad. Estoy bien agradecido y orgulloso de ser parte de esto.
Gracias.
Gracias. Para Felicity teníamos ahí a Warner Channel. Adelante, Bruno. Bruno, adelante, por favor. El micro. Gracias.
Gracias. Hello, Felicity, Diego and Gareth, thank you so much for your time. Taking the point of my colleague Alex here, talking about the fans. So the shooting is done, the character is done, you do an amazing job. So the next step is now dealing with the craziness about Star Wars, the Comic-Cons, the celebration, the people dressed like you, all the cosplayers, all the craziness about Star Wars. Did you prepare for that? Did you prepare because this is like a long-term relationship, you know? Like Carrie Fisher, like Mark Hamill is still going in Star Wars, is still talking about Star Wars. So, do you prepare for that? How is your point of view of the relationship with the fans and the long-term relationship with the Star Wars?
Well, I'm very lucky. I get lovely fan mail from fans, and it's amazing that comes from all over the world. So it's quite extraordinary because you feel connected through Star Wars to all these people across continents. So I genuinely appreciate it, and also, it's a magical opportunity to be part of something like this, and it has such history, as you say. Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, they set an amazing tone for us to continue to take this charming franchise and keep it going. But I love the way you use the word long-term relationship, and I think that's how I'm going to approach it. Take it steady, day by day, but with lots of love and affection.
Thank you. Allá atrás, por favor. Atrás, ¿dónde están? ¿Quién? ¿Tiene el micro?
Sí. Hi. I have a question for Gareth. I'm Bruno from Brazil, Juan. Gareth, on the trailer and the footage that we saw, you show us a vision of Star Wars that looks a lot like some wars that we know. The battles on the new planet looks like the Pacific Front on the World War II, and the battles on the city looks like, could be a scene from Iraq or something like that, with guerrilla warfare. I wanted to know, how did you achieve that vision, how it became real in a Star Wars movie? Thanks.
Thank you. Basically, I mean, George Lucas started it all, and his inspiration for a lot of the designs and look of costumes in Star Wars were from things like World War II. For instance, like when I first looked around the weapons that they give us, there's this amazing props department. They have hundreds of weapons of different. It was kind of like a fanboy's dream to kind of pick these things up. There was Han Solo's gun and Princess Leia's gun and the Stormtrooper guns. And I'd look at a lot of them and think, hang on, we can't use these ones over here. These are no good because these just look like antiques. These look like something from World War II. And they would correct me and say, this is actually the Stormtrooper guns from the original Star Wars film. And you say, oh my God, why do they look like that? And they'd explain, George didn't do anything to them. They were literally taken from World War II and given to the Stormtroopers because they didn't have enough money to change them. And that was like an important lesson, that to make Star Wars, it's not about making everything science fiction and futuristic. It's actually much more of a historical event, and to steal from the past and the imagery of the past. And so one of the experiments we did early on is we got photography, like war photography from Vietnam, the South Pacific, and even like the Middle East, and we changed the people in it, and in Photoshop changed them to be rebel soldiers and stormtroopers, and suddenly it looked really real and engaging, and we presented that to Kathy Kennedy, and she got very excited about it, and it felt like we were just basically, because we're a standalone film, we don't have to do what the sagas do, and in all the meetings we'd go to, the studio would pretty much say, so how is this different? How is this film going to be different? And we were pretty much given a license and encouraged to be as different as possible, and I'm very glad that I got to do the standalone movie because it gave us a lot of creative freedom, and stylistically, from a directing point of view, we got to make a version of Star Wars that, back in the back of your head, I've always wanted to see. So yeah, it was a slow process, but it is called Star Wars, so it's kind of, the clue is in the title. It kind of encourages you to do it a bit.
Thank you. Allá atrás, por favor.
Hola Diego, Rosa Marca de Hechos, de Azteca.
Hola.
Eres una de las figuras más reconocidas del cine latinoamericano y ahora también del cine estadounidense. ¿De qué manera crees que repercuta en tu carrera y sobre todo en la visión que tienen de los mexicanos en Estados Unidos, sobre todo en estos momentos, el que un mexicano, un latino, forme parte y en un papel protagónico de una de las sagas más importantes?
Pues la última parte de la pregunta va a haber que preguntárselas a ellos, pero yo no sé, yo creo que el cine no se trata de pasaportes ni de nacionalidades. De hecho, creo que lo que menos había en el set eran estadounidenses. Filmamos en Inglaterra, el director es inglés, el cast tiene esa diversidad. El cine, de hecho, vive de la riqueza que trae la diversidad, ¿no? Mientras gente más disímil se junte a contar una historia, más la terminará enriqueciendo. Y yo sí creo que lo que me parece importante es que Star Wars establezca un paralelo con el mundo en el que vivimos hoy, un mundo que está plagado de esta diversidad, ¿no? Y que eso se vea en el cine, pues hará que la película viaje mejor, que la película tenga más eco con el público alrededor del mundo, ¿no? Ya en términos personales, no sé qué signifique. Yo creo que hay que ser bien cuidadosos cuando hablamos de Estados Unidos, porque hay muchos Estados Unidos, no puedes generalizar, ¿no? Yo tengo muchos amigos, mucha gente que quiero, mucha familia incluso del otro lado, que nos conoce mucho mejor de lo que creemos, ¿no? Y no hay que olvidarnos de que ellos también están ahí, ¿no? Y te digo, la película sí manda un mensaje muy claro. Los héroes son de carne y hueso, ¿no? Los héroes son como nosotros. Es gente que entiende que trabajando en equipo es capaz de hacer cosas increíbles. Y eso te digo, es un mensaje pertinente no solo para Estados Unidos, para el mundo entero, porque el mundo entero se está volviendo loco. Lo que pasó en Estados Unidos es solo una muestra más de lo que está pasando, y es global. Y se trata, esta película habla de eso, habla de gente que se involucra y que decide ser parte del cambio y arriesgarlo todo por un bien común, ¿no? Y eso, te digo, es pertinente que lo escuchemos en todo el mundo.
Gracias. Adelante, por favor.
Thank you for Felicity.
Thank you. Felicity, how was work with Diego and Diego Luna in this new story from Star Wars for you? What's your experience?
Sorry, the experience of making the...
to work with Diego Luna.
Oh, to work with Diego.
Sorry.
Yeah, could you just go? It was very special, actually, from the very beginning, particularly with Alan, who plays K2, who unfortunately isn't here, but would always come out with the best one-liners imaginable, and so would keep us all just laughing throughout the day. But I think I loved Diego and Y Tu Mama Tambien. I loved that style of filmmaking, that authenticity, and just you feel like, as Diego was saying, I like films where you feel the humanity of the people, and with that film and with Rogue, it's rooted in these individuals being real people, and people who don't, have superpowers, and but have convictions and strength. So I think it was a very easy collaboration, very similar-minded and similar approaches.
Thank you. Gracias.
Pregunta para Gareth. Hola, soy Uriel Barco de Swagger. Gareth, ¿qué se siente salir cine independiente de Monsters, tu pequeña película Monsters, y de repente estar dirigiendo una parte de Star Wars?
Sorry, I speak fluent Spanish. I'm just listening to the football results in English. Yeah, like my first movie I ever made was set in Mexico, and I spent 6 weeks kind of doing a road trip with a very small crew. I shot it myself, had to do the visual effects myself. It was very low budget, and I spent about 2 years in my headspace living in Mexico making that film, and so coming here to promote Star Wars is pretty surreal. We're in a van driving all across the country, and we would say to each other, like, what has to happen? Because it was, it's very hard to make a movie, and it takes a lot of effort, and also it's a big risk. We all gave up our careers to try and do it. And someone said, what would you have to do, what would have to happen for this to all be worthwhile? And I used to say, well, if I got to direct like an episode of a television show, then it'd be worth it. And I think if someone had said to me, 6 years from now, you'll be back in Mexico promoting Star Wars film that you directed, I think I would have just been blown away. Like, there is no version where I ever predicted this. I think if I rolled the dice again of life, it wouldn't come up with this result. I got very lucky. I just right place at the right time, I don't know what, but or some mistake via email. I accidentally got offered it. It was supposed to be for someone else, but it was too late once they signed the contract. I'm not sure. But I grew up with Star Wars. I loved it to death. I want to ask a question to Diego, actually. Does your kid have an action figure of you?
Yes. And I'm worried for voodoo, Like, I'm worried that I'm gonna be hurt, that I'm gonna arrive and he's gonna chop my head and stuff like that when I say, go to bed. They have the whole, my daughter has yours. She was like, yeah, I don't want you, Dad. Yeah, it's weird. And I have Ben Mendelsohn socks.
Yeah, I got the socks.
You can, yeah, it's kind of cool. I had to say.
My nephew, who's 1.5, likes chewing the heads off action figures, which really keeps your feet on the ground.
It's just very weird. Like, I know Diego grew up loving Star Wars, and the little known fact I never realised is things like R2-D2 in Spanish is Little Arthur. And it makes way more sense that it's Little Arthur. Like, that makes total sense. And you were saying on set, he was explaining to me that he was really confused when he found out it was just a letter and a number. Like, and it's like, yeah, because Little Arthur is cool, right?
It works, right? I mean, you see it, and it has.
R2-D2's rubbish name. It should be Little Arthur. I think you guys got it right. I think.
Gracias. Por ahí con Monse, por favor.
Hola Diego, José Antunes de Revista Squire.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, gracias.
Qué bueno. Bueno, sabemos que Star Wars siempre pues, es una aventura, ¿no? ¿Qué nos puedes platicar sobre ya estar dentro de Rogue One, de algún momento que te ha dejado sin habla?
Me pasaba mucho quedarme sin habla porque estábamos filmando en inglés y a Gareth le encanta improvisar y a veces nos decía, ¡pam! No sé, la batalla está sucediendo, ¡vas! O darles órdenes a todos, habla con ellos. Y yo así de, ¿cómo habla con ellos? Y sacar el diccionario, checar, que me digan la pronunciación y ya regresar y hacerlo. Y cuando regresas, pues ya se acabó la batalla. Me pasaba mucho de eso. Pero la verdad es que, no sé, o sea, todavía desde ayer que estoy tratando de contestar esa pregunta. ¿Qué se siente? ¿Qué se siente? No sé qué se siente. Todavía no siento, estoy como adormecido. Nunca había hecho una película que tuviera este nivel de expectativa. Nunca había hecho una película donde todos ustedes estuvieran aquí sentados queriendo hablar de ella. Normalmente es uno tratando de decirles, por favor, háblenos tantito de la película. Luego hablamos de la familia y de no sé qué, y de Trump, pero hablemos un poquito de la película. Aquí es al revés, aquí todo el mundo tiene algo que decir, todo el mundo tiene algo que comentar, una opinión ya establecida, y eso es emocionante y a la vez da miedito también, da miedito y estoy como en esa, tratando de descubrir qué se siente, pero la única parte que sí sentí, y que eso es increíble, es que en el set me sentía como niño jugando, ¿no? O sea, reconectaba con mi infancia, sobre todo porque además nuestra película está ahí puesta, tan cerquita de la primera película que yo vi y que como espectador me voló la cabeza, ¿no? Ver Star Wars de niño era como convertirse en adulto, era como ese paso a la madurez, ¿no? Ya no voy a ver películas de dibujos animados que me pongan mis papás. Ya me voy a callar. En fin, estoy emocionado y tenso y nervioso y ansioso, porque además estamos hablando de algo que ni siquiera he visto, ¿no? Y eso se siente muy raro.
Gracias. Vamos a ir terminando ya la conferencia. Un par de preguntas más. Adelante, por favor.
Hi, thank you. Welcome to Mexico, Felicity. My name is Nim Silva and I'm from Huelense. So my question is kind of, in this movie, people learn how to work in a team. What did you learn from Diego? And Diego, what did you learn from Felicity? Thank you.
Do you want to go first?
Okay. Sí, es como terapia esto.
No, you can say anything.
It's the conversation we never had. I'm so glad we're having this in front of so many people. Yo te debo decir que Felicity era como la cómplice perfecta, ¿no? Escogí la palabra justamente para que no gritaran así. O sea, hubiera dicho lo que hubiera dicho que estaban así, ¿verdad? No, es que te voy a decir esto, o sea, a veces a mí sí como que me paralizaba el tamaño de la película que estábamos haciendo. O sea, es mal pensado. Qué barbaridad. Sí era... A veces sí me daba pánico de repente sentir que todo eso estaba ahí para que tú hicieras bien tu trabajo, ¿no? No había espacio para el error y de alguna forma la complicidad que generamos, donde en el equipo incluyo a Allen, que estuvo ahí también desde el principio, apaciguaba, ¿no? Te tranquilizaba muchísimo saber que había alguien enfrente que estaba sintiendo lo mismo, porque no es como que ninguno de los que estamos aquí llevemos 25 películas de este tamaño y hagamos ¿no? puros blockbusters de superhéroes. No, si revisas la filmografía de Felicity, es un cine muy intimista, muy de personajes, ¿no? Y ese es el cine, pues no solo que yo hago, sino que además me gusta ver. Entonces, de repente, acompañarte por alguien que suena tan cercano era indispensable para no volverse loco en ese set, ¿no? Y me acuerdo el primer día de llamado, estábamos en Jordania y nos subimos a una camioneta como no sé cuántos minutos hacia adentro del desierto para filmar la primera escena que hacíamos, y era como no sé cuántos, como 30 minutos en camioneta hacia adentro en el desierto, en medio de la nada, y pasamos la escena más sencilla de la película, la ensayamos como si fuera Shakespeare, le dimos vueltas y vueltas sin parar de ensayar obsesivamente, y eso se sintió increíble. De repente dije, ay cabrón, estoy acompañado de alguien que es del mundo en el que yo vivo, ¿no? Me hacía sentir, me daba mucha calma eso.
Thanks, Diego. At first I thought you were going to say you were paralysed by my great talent. I was like, wow, that's cool. I think there was just we have a very, very similar approach. I think all three of us, we don't like too much BS. I don't know if I can't swear, so I won't swear. So we're all straightforward. We all put our hearts and our souls into our work. We take it seriously, but we also like to have a sense of humour about it, and we realise that it's such an opportunity to do what we're doing. And you know, you get to know each other really well. They're very long days, they're long hours, but there was definitely a complicity of kind of intention and spirit and a care for filmmaking and making films that we all believe in. And I think that's at the root of why we're all here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jorge Roth from Venezuela, Globalization. Hi Gareth, this question's for you. We haven't seen the movie, even Diego, or I don't know if Felicity have seen the final movie but from what we saw yesterday, we can tell that there's some amazing characters and great stories to tell with these characters. So I want to know if there has been any talks with Disney or Lucasfilm for continuing the stories of these characters that we are going to meet in Rogue One.
Well, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say and not allowed to say, but I heard some rumors just last week that there is a plan to do a sequel to Rogue One. I think it's going to be directed by George Lucas, and it will mainly feature the story of a kid called Luke Skywalker, who I don't want to ruin it for you. I probably have said too much already, but yeah, I agree. I think a sequel would be good, and but you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure following Rogue One, isn't there? I'm not sure they're going to want to do that.
Gracias. Y tenemos una última pregunta, por favor.
Hi Felicity. First, I want to know how much have you get to see of Mexico? Do you really like it? And I know this has been asked many times, but this is larger than life. You are kind of used to small films, and this is huge. How do you think you're gonna cope with it? And do you think this is gonna be a part of you now being in blockbusters, in huge movies?
I mean, the honest answer is I don't know. I just take it as it comes. I loved making this film. I think as long as you care about the story, and that's ultimately why we're here, is to tell great stories, then that will always be the thing that motivates me. And actually, whether it's on a huge, film set or a play in front of 20 people, I don't actually care. It's about the authenticity of the story that's important. I don't know, you can't prepare yourself for this, you just got to go with it and see what happens, and obviously we're just looking forward to everyone seeing it, and there's a level of anxiety, but ultimately it's great fun to be a part of. But I'll stop kind of rambling on. And Mexico is unbelievable. It's my first time here, and I'm very excited because we actually have a day off tomorrow. So the intention after a long night of mezcal drinking tonight is going to be to go hopefully to Frida Kahlo's house. I'm a huge fan of her and like to see that, and then potentially if there's time to go and see the pyramids. So it's an absolute privilege to be here.
Go back to Yavin.
Yeah, go back to Yavin.
Okay. Diego, algo que quisieras decir para dar por concluida. Felicity, something that you would like to say to the journalists, to the press.
Yo creo que a mí nada más me faltó decir que agradezco inmensamente a Gareth que está sentado aquí, que es el culpable de que yo esté sentado aquí y no ahí, porque la verdad estaría del otro lado, porque soy público de estas películas y es un gran regalo poder pasarme del otro lado y ser parte de un universo con el que llevo jugando toda mi vida, y eso se lo debo a él. Y agradecerle a Felicity todo el cariño y como el compañerismo que no se perdió 7 meses de rodaje y que nos tiene aquí contentos hablando de una película. Normalmente uno de estas cosas ya llega harto y ya sin hablarse, sin voltearse a ver, como esperando que pase lo más rápido, y esto es al revés. Ha sido una reunión bien bonita, reencontrarnos después de este viaje ha sido muy bonito y todo se lo debemos a ese señor.
Something else that you want to say to our audience?
I actually didn't realize Diego was Mexican until yesterday. I've never heard him speak Spanish in my life. It's very good. Yeah. Did you learn that in America somewhere?
Yeah, I lived in California, so you have to.
You're actually from London, aren't you? Secretly. No, we hope you love the film, and it really, we hope that it will be an immersive experience, and that you're actually there with this band of rebels in the thick of it.
Someone was asking earlier, like, what's it like with all the weight of the fans' expectations, and it's going to be a lifelong commitment and stuff. And I think we've stayed in a little bubble for the last 1.5 years or 2 years, whatever it's been, on purpose, because we didn't want to put that pressure on ourselves. We wanted to make a kind of passion project version of Star Wars. And for me, it hit me for the first time when we did Celebration, which is this big Star Wars event in London. They played the trailer for the first time on the big screen, and what they normally like to do is they take the actors and the director and stuff, and they take them backstage, and then they show the trailer, and you never actually get to see it, you never see the audience reaction. And I was like, I don't want to go backstage, when the trailer comes on, let's go to the front and watch it. And so me and a couple of other people from Lucasfilm, I think Kathy and Kiri, went down the front, and you guys went around the back, and we watched the trailer, and we're like, oh, that's really cool, and there's a big cheer from the crowd, and then the lights went up, and like 1,000 people came over, and they were suddenly surrounded by all these fans, and this girl came up, and she had the perfect, like an amazing costume of Jim, and it was so perfect that I actually just instinctively went up to her and went, hey, and went to hug her, like thinking it was you kind of thing in my brain. And so, whoa, hang on, wait a minute, I don't know you, you're a complete stranger, what am I doing? And it's really strange when you've owned or like been living with something for so long that's so personal to you, and then you walk into the shops and you just see it on the shelf, or some boxer shorts, or toys and t-shirts and things. It's an incredibly surreal experience, and I think I know I'll never be in the situation again where there's this much anticipation and love, you know, ahead of a film coming out, it's a pretty remarkable thing, and it speaks a lot to how amazing the original films were and how big an impact they had on the whole world. And so I'm just, you don't get given Star Wars, you sort of borrow it, and then you give it back to the world, and I feel like we're about to give it back to everyone, and I hope you all like what we've done with it. So, thank you.
Gracias.